Well, I guess we should start by saying I have my what I consider a friend and peer, Brian Saviano, otherwise known as Bricksobrian, on this episode. Uh, Brian, how you doing, man?
I'm doing as best as I can possibly be, given the circumstances of the world
Yeah,
around me and the world around all of us, ever changing and adapting to whatever's going on. So I'm just happy to be here, happy to be alive and meowing it out.
of course. Thank you for being here. Now, the first thing this is softball. I love to lob to all my guests, but if someone didn't know who Bricks O'Brien was, how would you describe Bricks O'Brien and your content?
The greatest family friendly content creator in now the multiverse is what I would say. And then I would back that up by saying that I am a guy who not only plays video games online between Minecraft, anything Nintendo, pretty much anything I'm interested in, entertaining people through the power of video games. So, telling random stories about my life along the way, sharing insight from my stories, like life lessons that way, and really whatever else is going on. I try to do content, short form, long form, live streams, whatever, that is not just a best highlights of me. You're getting all of me. And I'll say if I'm having a bad day or a good day, this is what I'm looking forward to. This is what I'm worried about. And really just being human in the videos that I do, aimed at audiences of all ages in a family friendly way. So I will talk the same way, whether I'm speaking to an adult or a child in my videos. And that's just kind of my policy. And that's how I've had this magnet, this giant magnet of what I do
Mm-hmm.
ends up attracting all sorts of types of people, including families all around the world, which I'm incredibly grateful for their support with watching the videos and pretty much every single thing I do in a very positive way, no matter what it is. They're just there and willing to help out in whatever way they can. So I've built something very special compared to a lot of other content creators that are out there, not just in the video game realm, the Lego realm, but just in general. So I'm very privileged to be able to do what I do every single day to the best of my ability. So
That's great. I consider your content very unique in that you do cover multiple things. You're just not, gaming, you're just not, Lego or toys or things like that. And even between those subcategories, you still span across a couple different other games and other things like that. Tell me, with your content, what got you into content creation in the first place?
well, it was back in, I want to say 2009, 2010, where I discovered that, okay, YouTube is a thing that I can upload videos to and see a reaction from people. And I thought that was very interesting considering I was an only child. I mean, I still am an only child back in those days. And I didn't really have, I had people to hang out and play with, but not really that shared that same level of interest that I did. So I found it so interesting to upload a video and other people could just stumble across it. So I made a YouTube channel, did gaming videos that were all over the place. I had the Call of Duty phase, montages and all that, just like a lot of people, do when they're a little bit younger, I guess. And then I found my way into refining that idea of what I wanted and making a brand for myself eventually after doing work for other companies, other people, Lego related, gaming or otherwise, and really found my footing to do what I want to do to the best of my ability. But it all started with that inherent desire to want to share my passion for games
Mm.
and for stories and people back in 2009, 2010, where I had no idea what I was doing. I was using Twitter at like 14. And like what
Wow.
14-year-old uses Twitter back in 2010? Probably not many, but I knew that was a thing I should probably pay attention to. So all of these things have been a part of my DNA since I was that age and adapting to the newest things from Twitter to now TikTok. So
That's impressive. So I mean, being in it for that long, do you still have like those early videos from when you started? Like, could you go back and find those or?
So, okay, I had back then. A lot
Yeah,
of those videos are now gone. The very,
right,
very first ones, because when I'm 15, 16 years old, I'm like, get rid of these. They're trash. Who cares? But
right.
now, looking back on it, everything that I've done from probably 2014 to now, I have on my hard drive. I have scattered everywhere, so
Yeah,
it's available. Those very first videos, there's some inklings online. Maybe there's inklings of that scattered here and there,
yeah.
but the very first ones, unfortunately, no. It was me doing a video on Mario Super Sluggers for the Nintendo Wii, and I wanted to see if you hit the counter of home runs to 99, does it go to 100 or does it cap out at 99? That
Hmm.
was my first like research-based gaming video I did,
Yeah.
and it did not go to 100. It stays at 99. It doesn't go any higher than that. Spoiler. So that was the first video I ever did.
And you're saying you have these. Are those available for public consumption at all?
They are not. They are very much so not,
Yeah.
because like that was during my growing the incubation phase of, I think,
Right.
what a lot of online creators have this phase. They're just trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
And are all those videos family friendly? Probably not. Are those videos good? Definitely not. But one of these days, I do want to make some things available to people while I have like a raw reaction to them. Like, I
Yeah.
want someone else to look over them. Do I say anything stupid? Okay, cool. I'll share this one and react to it.
Yeah.
They're out there, but yeah, the Jedi archives are out there. You got to open a couple shelves, but it's there.
Man, I'm just saying, I want to go digging at some point and see a young Bricks O'Brien experimenting with different games.
Yeah,
And
the thing is, somebody asked me like relatively recently, like, if you look back on those videos, could you tell that I was gonna do the things that I do today? Like, was I just early in that phase? Like, could you see that? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if you could tell, like, oh, this
Right.
guy, he's not there. He's nowhere near close to getting it, but he'll get there eventually. That's sort
Yeah.
of, you know.
I think it's incredible that you have just a massive, backlog of content where you can actually do that. And I think it's pretty amazing that at whatever point in this career of content creation, you can say, I wonder what I was thinking back then, and you like you replay a video and you're like, man, like that journey from whatever that is, like 2014 as one of your earliest videos to now. I mean, that's still an 8-year span. And I can imagine 8 years of growth is probably immense. And so I think that's pretty incredible to actually think about. So I'm just saying, if any of that stuff gets out there, some of it, I'd love to see it. So
Yeah, it's out there. And what's even more fascinating about that is 2014 was when I graduated high school. So some
right.
of you out there are like, "Oh my goodness, you graduated then." It's like, "Yes, I did." So that's that. I'm 26 years old now. So the funniest thing is when kids come up to me now, or teenagers now, and they're like, "Hey, I watched your videos when I was a kid, and I really appreciate all your content you've done over the years," and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "Wait, when you were a kid, like how old are you now? Like what do you mean?" And I was doing this stuff back in high school,
Hmm.
and if you told that Brian in high school, your fan base of people you're entertaining are not born yet, for the most part, I would be
Yeah.
like, "What are you talking about? There's how?" So sometimes it just it takes a little while to find your footing and grow, and then I just discover that maybe your audience doesn't even exist yet. Crazy thought.
It's true. Do you know like the average age of your viewers on YouTube?
It gets skewed, so obviously the analytics are like
Yeah.
all messed up, right?
Yeah.
It ranges from younger kids all the way to literally families who will watch what I do. Like, when I've met people at conventions, it's not just the little kids going up to me being like, "Oh, Brian." It's the moms and the dads, even grandparents. So it's a whole family affair because the way my videos are, they're not obnoxiously loud noises and screaming and yelling and going whatever.
Yeah.
It's just me talking like this, and I talk the same way. So if my video is on in the background while parents are doing whatever, they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, let me listen in and see what this is all about," and then that gets them a little bit attached to it too.
Yeah.
So between all those age demographics, it's kind of all over the board. Definitely skews younger, but my content still ages up with those people in a nice way. So
that's excellent. What kind of struggles, because you are you're a family-friendly content creator. What kind of struggles have you had as someone who's more geared to a family-friendly audience?
I mean, I guess one of the things that comes to mind immediately is collaboration as a big thing, because not everybody I watch or admire or whatever is family friendly. And so by me working with somebody else, for the most part, that is a seal of approval. Like, yes, you can watch this person because they are, Brian's family friendly. Why would he endorse anything other than that, right?
Right.
And a big important thing about what I do and who I am is trust. And building that trust with an audience is so overwhelmingly important. And it's not something that marketing dollars can buy or, whatever. It's just something that happens naturally.
Yeah.
And you need to earn that trust. So if I go, super family friendly and I raid XQC, well, then no, we're not doing that. So whoever I associate with, it's that. So in trying to collaborate with other people and build up, kind of bounce off of each other to bring each other up, it ranges from the larger creators who are like all up in your face, like, "Hey, everybody, it's me, Blippy, what?" And then it goes like that. And then it goes to like, I don't know, it's just a weird in the middle, I guess, that I haven't quite discovered. So I find myself in like a no man's land sometimes. I'm like, all right, well, who can I realistically so
it's been really difficult finding collaboration with other family-friendly creators.
And family-friendly creators that I vibe with. There's some people that I'll raid and, like on a typical live stream, if, Jang is live or Zach and Rutledge, like Zach is like 70%, I guess, family-friendly. It's like close enough. It's fine.
Yeah.
But, I go there and then I try to like, hey, audience, go look at these people. But they're not inherently Lego people like some of the people that are watching here. So my audience is like, okay, cool, it's Legos, bye. Where like if it's video games, it resonates a little bit better. So trying to find that perfect mesh is difficult for me.
I could see why, because I think the baseline difficulty for most content creators is just the vibe check, right? Is like, does this person pass the kind of, feelings that I want to give to my audience? And then like you have that secondary barrier to entry of, family friendly content. So I feel like that makes it really difficult to make those connections while trying to build content and trying to expand your reach. And because you and I have talked a little bit about this in the past, and we, I see you out there like trying to find and match up with other creators who kind of check those boxes. And I wanted to bring that up because I think that's something that is an incredible challenge. And so how have you, I guess, what kind of ways are you trying to overcome that, or at least get through and find other folks to work with?
Well, part of it is platform as one thing. And Zach touched on this in the chat, kind of sort of like, it's especially hard to do family friendly on Twitch. And when you can look by different tags, obviously on Twitch, and there's a family friendly tag across all platform, all games at any given point. And the amount of people who are actually family friendly is like this. It's so small. And then, okay, you take all these people, how many of them speak English? So that eliminates half. And then how many people am I going to vibe with it? And then you're left with like 4 people maybe on the platform. Like, okay, Well, so that's difficult. If I were a super smart businessman, I would be on YouTube live streaming, not on Twitch, because
Mm,
family friendly content is so much more prevalent on YouTube
mm,
because just it's has a bigger install base. There's YouTube Kids, blah 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 blah, right?
mm,
But on Twitch, there's a better sense of community. The live streaming atmosphere is much better,
mhm,
and all the adults that watch me, I'm like, all right, I can entertain them, and this is kind of our spot, right? Kids
mhm,
probably still watch me. They shouldn't be chatting because of the age. I digress. Whatever. So
right.
it depends on each of the platforms, and then even TikTok could be difficult, and then Twitter is more so about networking than trying to find an audience that way. And so there's all these
Yeah,
different subsections to all these different things as well.
yeah.
That it's just difficult.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly difficult. Uh, when you touched on the YouTube portion of it, have you tried at all to like do the live stream on that side, or how has that been for you when you've looked at it?
Yeah, so I've done that in the past, and I originally did multi-streaming before I got affiliate, and I wanted to lean into Twitch more.
Mm,
And I just got frazzled with multi-streaming because if I'm carrying 30, 40 people over on Twitch, and then
yeah,
maybe it's a similar number on YouTube, and then I got double the comments thrown at me, and my mind's a million places a second.
yeah,
For being on YouTube, a lot of it initially came down to, at the time, a lot of the features that were not there, that there was a much stronger gravitation for me onto Twitch because I was familiar with the platform. I knew what the expectations were and the culture that is fostered there. When it's good, it's really good.
yeah,
So I knew that there were people on this platform from the Lego realm, gaming or otherwise, that were on there that were cool people that I wanted to get to know more and be a part of their communities.
yeah.
And that just isn't the same on YouTube. That's mostly video on demand content. And that's still the prevalent thing. That's the main thing on there is all pre-recorded video content, now shorts, right? So
Right.
that's still that place. I upload videos to my channel almost every single day, live stream recaps, etc. That
Hmm.
has its spot, but then Twitch has its spot in a similar way.
I think that your perspective is pretty accurate. I ran an experiment too. I actually went as far as, because I was already an affiliate. I ran an experiment and I wanted to do it right, and so I gave up my affiliateship for about 3 months,
Mhm.
and for about, I would say, 6 to 10 weeks, I multi-streamed. Uh, Twitch and YouTube, even for a short while, Facebook, all at the same time. And I think the biggest challenge is doing that were exactly what you described. The combination of trying to manage multiple chats, right? That in and of itself is a challenge. Plus, not just you managing it, but everyone in their disparate communities are trying to talk, and they don't really, unless you're putting all the chat up on screen, they're not
Mhm.
really able to engage each other. And then the tools, the features that Twitch has is so much better and geared, of course, for live streaming. So it made it rough, managing certain aspects of the stream on those other platforms. And then finally, I mean, everything Twitch has done has been in the, at least initially, in service of really nurturing that community culture, right? Of everyone, getting in a channel, hyping up the streamer, and all the little things that they allow you to do has just been, I would say, much better for live streaming. So I completely agree with your assessment there. Even though, YouTube's been adding features, they've been working on it. Facebook has been trying to get bigger creators over on their side, for live streams, specifically. I, I I mean, I tried it, probably not as extensively as you have, but I would say that Twitch is a solid place to do the live content. Definitely.
Yeah. And just the types of people that you can meet through doing this, and the rating feature is, how many people really and truly stick with you, and then if you receive a rate and all that, right? Like what
Yeah.
are the tangible numbers? It's not about that. It's about saying, hey, here's my entire community who's willing to stick with me to the end. I would like to share my experience that I've had in your stream with all these people. So here you go. Here's
Yeah.
my audience. And then it's just that sign of camaraderie and support. And that is something you just don't have on YouTube right now. It could
Yeah.
happen one day, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
With your time on Twitch, how long has it been actually?
2 years. I think okay, so I was multi-streaming before everything hit the fan in 2020, and then I
Right.
believe in May of 2020 I said, okay, I'm going to multi-stream for a little while longer, and then now after this point just on Twitch, and then from I want to say May 2020 until now it's been exclusively on Twitch. 3 times a week, 4 times a week now at the brick building raid train happening on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Sometimes special events, all sorts of things. So yeah.
That's excellent. So it's been a while. So you can speak as probably one of the folks who have been around on Twitch watching the Lego community grow as well as, the other communities that you've touched in that time. What are your thoughts on that? Because I know that there's been a lot of growth in the brick building community specifically, but what, as someone who's been around for almost 2 years, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, so for those who may not know, I'll explain a little bit of my origins with Lego and how that all became to be.
Yeah.
Got a job at Lego brand retail at the Burlington store, my favorite store and the best store on the North Shore of Boston, by the way. Great people there, some of my greatest friends. And then worked for a YouTube channel called The Brick Show, and then we had videos that went up on Amazon, gaming related videos, Lego stuff, whatever. After that channel got terminated, I was like, all right, well, I want to go off and do my own thing because of a lot of other things that happen on behind the scenes that are whatever. So I went out on my own to be bricksobrian in 2018. And then from that point, I have been on Twitch, YouTube, in the Lego community. And now most recently, with 2020 being as it was, had a good stint with Beyond the Brick, where we would be doing a quarantine cast every Tuesday. I would do reviews, all sorts of different videos for them as well. So by the time I got to Twitch and started seeing what was happening with Lego, I was already pretty familiar with the platform in general, what it was capable of and all that. And there are people that have been on here doing their thing for quite some time, Between the Bricks being one of them. Shout out to Dan. He's great. He's mysteriously vanished until who knows when, but he's around. And he's been doing it for quite some time. And I've seen it grow, maybe not to the extent of other people who have been around, like Brick and Nick. He's another one of those old wise sages on the Jedi Council of brick building people, along with Set to Build, but I haven't really talked to him that much. So they are really the ones to ask about it. But in terms of my experience, I've seen a lot of people who do not have the Lego DNA built into them from the get-go. There's a lot of people who are either entertainers at heart or gamers at heart that get switched over into doing the Lego thing, which provides a whole different perspective on how this thing goes, where a lot of the people who were just building Lego, camera just on the bricks, doing the thing, building, it became less and less and less about that, but more and more about the conversations that you were having with the person on stream and the community and fostering that level of growth.
Right.
And that's what I've always seen. Like, hot take opinion, because that's what I'm known for as well. Hot take opinions here. I never watch a Lego stream. I don't watch someone click bricks together. I listen to them. I listen to what they're talking about with their communities and everything else. So that to me is the value. And then if you have a bunch of redeems and stuff, sure, great, whatever. But it's about the conversations. So more and more people, I think, are really realizing that and leaning into it that much more. And I'm very happy to see that aspect being taken.
I'm glad that you touched on that, actually, because I think that with everything, especially with this, I've seen what I consider almost not an explosion, but definitely a massive growth in new creators in the brick building tag. And there have definitely been some of those streamers who are like, oh, I'm building Lego, and that's all I'm doing. Right. And then you kind of, because I've only been in this space for, I want to say, maybe 9 months, 8, 9 months. Uh, then you have the people who are, you're seeing executing and being successful within in the tag. They're doing just what you said. Like the Lego's there, and we're gonna talk about the Lego, or we'll have topics of discussion around it. But what really keeps people coming back, what really keeps people engaged, is the person building the Lego, driving the conversation, talking to their chat about, whether they're mega Lego experts or they're more widespread in talking about things adjacent to Lego, right? Like there's a lot of Star Wars talk because of all the sets, which I see in a lot of channels. Those are the ones, and I don't think that's actually really a hot take. I really truly believe that is a very actually wise and real take in terms of, if you're going to create, if you're going to stream, like anyone can build Lego, right? Or anyone can play a game.
More though, anyone can play a game. It's the same philosophy.
Exactly.
You're not going to build a passionate following and engaging content by sitting there. Oh, I'm going to sit here and play Fortnite and not talk to anybody for 45 minutes. What are you doing? Like, you're supposed to be either engaging with people, growing the community that you have, or being entertaining, or providing information, or doing something than just, doing the equivalent of if I was just sitting here like a lump on a log just playing a game. Like, it's more than that. It's about everything that I just said. And more people need to realize that. And in the Lego space, people are realizing it more and more, like very, very quickly. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. I found that the learning curve is it's incredible. Having been on Twitch for a long time, often you'll browse, and you'll see everything from a couple hundred people in the subcategory to like one or two people. And I like to scroll down sometimes, and I like to click on those one or two viewer channels just to see what I'm missing. And a lot of those people, when you engage them, just you're like, hey, hi, what are you building? They're actually, I found, and maybe I've been lucky lately, but it lines up with your perspective there, that people are actually realizing, hey, I can engage. Hey, I can talk to the person who's really just sitting there in chat typing words at me. And I think it's pretty fantastic that with Lego, I think it works as a wonderful vehicle to still do something. You're still doing an activity, but you're not, if you're doing it right, you're not as zoned in on it, right? You can put some bricks together, and you can still look at your camera, and you can still say a few things and read the chat, and it works out really, really great. I found that as someone who went from the pure gaming space on Twitch to something like brick building, that even trying to practice playing a game and reading chat has made my ability to pay attention to chatters incredibly, like, it's really easy to follow. I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't know how you feel about that, but
it's such a skill to do all of it. Like, you are not just creating the visuals on screen by controlling the game or building the Lego, but then you're also being entertaining. You're your own producer. You're your own moderator. There's so many different things that you're doing at the same time. And then you're also your own marketer, promoter, blah, blah, blah. You're so many different things when you're a content creator. And it goes beyond just creating the content, where it is true that, you may spend this much time making the thing and this much time producing the thing. And that's, very apparent for me. And I'm sure many other people who are doing 1,000 things across the internet too. Like, it's just a lot of manpower to actually make the thing happen.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on a comment Prophet DNA made earlier about how Lego, rather, I never thought about how hard it might be to be family friendly. I always felt that Lego community here is almost all PG-13, and that's basically fair. Most people are PG-13 to my detriment of trying to connect with more people sometimes and share my community with them.
Mm,
My philosophy has always been, and that especially relates to the games that I play as well, right?
yeah.
To me, it doesn't make sense to cuss up a storm, say whatever outlandish and ridiculous things. It doesn't make sense to do all that while I'm playing a Mario game that
Yeah.
is designed to be enjoyed by families. Same thing with Lego. If I'm dropping heinous language and who knows what else while I'm doing this thing,
Yeah.
it just doesn't seem like a good fit. And that also helps if you're trying to get into like the ambassador network and work professionally with companies and stuff too, right? Like,
Right.
how much does family friendly help your chances of getting those opportunities versus not? And then how far do you teeter on that line? Some people take edgy content all the way through. Sure, go ahead. But other people go entirely family friendly. It just depends on what you're comfortable with and all
Mm,
that. I feel that I'm still able to be family friendly and not only convey the message that I want to, but still be informative
yeah.
and funny while I do it. Because what a cool challenge that would be to try to get out this joke that I have in my head that if I drop an F bomb right now, it's gonna go and it's gonna go
Yeah.
right this. But how do I mend it so that way it's like only parents will get it, or if you only
Yeah.
know this, you'll get like it's just a very interesting challenge to me. And I take a
Yeah.
lot of pride in doing that. And I don't believe I've ever slipped as Bricks O'Brien. So
Really?
I don't think I have.
That's
A lot of
excellent.
people a lot of people thought that I swore during the 24-hour stream at the very end while I was calling out some person who was being, dumb.
I was
But
there
that
for
was
that.
actually Dan. That was not me. That was Dan. So I didn't even slip up in that moment where I was heated on no sleep for 23 hours.
That's
So
impressive, man.
I
That's
try.
that's really impressive. Do you with that in mind, uh do you ever think that you would ever want to go away from family friendly?
I mean, it's a question people ask me all the time,
I'm sure.
and I never really see a desire to do that.
Hmm.
Not only because I like that challenge, I like the availability to entertain anybody, and
Hmm.
I don't want to feel like I'm shutting out potentially people who would watch me because I cuss. Right? Some
Yeah.
people just won't. They won't even bother because I drop a swear, which is totally fine. And families, especially building that trust, etc.
Yeah.
But any of those other things that I enjoy, comedy specials or movies or whatever, like I can enjoy whatever music and movies and whatever I want to.
Hmm.
But those things I typically want to keep to myself anyways because I need something for myself at some point, right?
Yeah.
Um, and the rated M games, like I'd love to play God of War and do videos on it, but I'd also rather not because I just want to sit there and play it. So
Yeah.
I'll talk about how I play it and how much I love Red Dead 2, but I'm not going to tell you about it. I'm not going to play it. So
Yeah. Well, you made such a good point there with the importance of doing something, doing something for yourself. And I really want to touch on that because I don't think that's a concept that a lot of creators, especially those that are, yeah, I think joining the space, or even those that have been at it for a little while, have really, I think, stopped to think of the importance of. So that said, with all the stuff that you do, right? All the things that you consume. And I mean, I know it makes it easier because you're family friendly, but the concept of keeping things for yourself, how important is that to you?
admittedly, I've made every single hobby or thing that I've enjoyed into a thing that can be shared with other people, right? Especially
Right.
Lego,
Right.
where like I could, with the amount of Lego that I do right now as a part of my content ensemble, like I stream once a week Lego stuff, maybe a Beyond the Brick review. Like I could just be like, you know what? I'm gonna keep it to myself.
Yeah.
I'm done with this stuff, right? I could, but I still
Yeah.
want to do stuff in this space, so that's
Yeah.
fine. Um, Otherwise, admittedly, I'm not the best about like taking that time for myself because not even because I have so many plates spinning at once, but because I still enjoy the thing. I enjoy doing this and I enjoy discovering the possibilities of what I can do. And
Yeah.
because this space is still so relatively new compared to radio, movies, and music,
Yeah.
Like there's so many more opportunities and things that I know for a fact, and I truly believe that that thing that Eminem says, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything you set your mind to. I believe that, and I believe it enough that I want to keep myself driven toward the goal of, I guess, what the most recent thing now would be is to be a published author, which
Yeah.
will be happening, and all the things that go with it. So
Yeah.
I want to max out all the bars of you know, attack, defense, special defense, all the things, max IV, the whole thing, Pokemon style. Like,
Yeah.
do it all.
I get it, man. I think I've often found myself over the years being in this space where I have to stop and think, is this something I want to stream? Is this something I want to do? Right? Whether it's a Lego set or whether it's a new game, I find that I have to actually check myself and be like, is this? Because I think the instinct of most creators is, I need to stream this or I need to record this so people can see my experience, and I found myself over time, which is still my first instinct, by the way. Much like you, I find it very difficult to not want to create content out of it because I enjoy doing it so much. There are times where I have to check myself and be very specific in terms of, okay, you know what? It's not going to kill me to just enjoy this on my own.
Right.
Without talking to chat, with no camera on, I can build this little set, or I could play this game for the next hour or two without having to do any commentary on what I'm thinking or making jokes to chat. And I think it's incredibly important, but I totally understand that it's also incredibly difficult.
Yeah. And as creators, there's an infinite list of things to do, where that time you're spent playing games, you could do this, you could schedule out a couple of interesting tweets to spur engagement, or you could just concoct more Instagram. There's so many things you can do.
Yep.
And so that's the thing is, you know, unless you got a multi-million-dollar marketing team behind you, and even then, like, you know, Lego doesn't post to their social media every day. Why should you every hour? Like, come on.
Man. With all these years under your belt and all these different platforms that you're working on, what keeps you motivated to keep doing this?
That's a good question. I would say it's the possibilities of what I'm able to do and how I can push myself to explore that new territory, which is definitely what the book, my book on Kickstarter, that's part of what that is taking, you know, I don't have 1 million subscribers and thousands and thousands and thousands of Twitter followers, and, you know, but I am very small peanuts compared to 99% of other people. But what am I able to do with my brain power, my energy tank, and the people that are willing to watch my shenanigans on a daily basis? Like, what is the possibility that could happen? I never want to be in a spot where I'm not building toward the next thing. Like, I have this idea in my head of like, okay, I want this thing to go here, and I know that I can't shoot straight for it. I can't shoot for the Bricks O'Brien or Pro Gamer's Guide animated TV show airing on HBO Max or Paramount Plus, right? It's not going to go right there. But what can I do, given who I am and what I'm capable of, to take those steps? And not only take the steps, but then bring as many people who want to do incredible things along with me. Artists, colleagues, whatever. I don't want it to just be me getting all the success and the accolades and the blah, 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 blah. If I can bring all of these incredible people that want to put a lot of good out into the world along with me on that journey, and all the people that have watched, the families that have watched me for years, that's exactly what I want to do.
That's great. I mean, as someone who's watched your content and who has spent time in your channel, as well as speaking to you one-on-one some, I think it's clear. It's very clear that's you want to keep building, you want to keep making things, and you want to bring people with you. That I mean, we can touch on this briefly. I mean, the thing that got me like even into your content in your channel was the fundraiser that you did with Beyond the Brick back in November. And for me, it was really incredible to see, everyone involved be there. And the fact that, you played a part in that by, collaborating with a ton of Lego creators that I was just discovering, as someone who is relatively new to that space. Uh, it is really clear in terms of your need and your want to not just create and not just create to be, hey, I'm Brian, here, look at me, but it's more about doing something good, doing something not alone, and bringing others in on it, and just sharing that with everyone who wants to consume it and be there for it. So yeah, I want to thank you for that, by the way, the work that you do on an everyday level, but also the work that you do with the brick building community, and with the fundraiser. I mean, you guys did so much in 24 hours.
We did. And yeah, so in case people don't know, Beyond the Brick does a 24-hour live stream every year, the weekend of Black Friday in the US, which is the last weekend, basically the last weekend of November. It happens every single year. The fundraising is typically open for a month, but then the 24 hours, everybody piles in to donate, whether there's a set on the line or not. So in the past couple of years, I had been involved passively, talks of me doing it. And then once I committed to doing the 24 hours alongside Joshua, I said, okay, well, Joshua's great. I don't want to look at him for 24 hours, just me and him. I want other people involved in this, because not only would that make the content of the stream more interesting, it would get more creators' names out there with that giant Beyond the Brick banner. Yeah. And then if the content is good, if the people are good, the cause is good, the set is, now you're stewing a pot of all these really good ingredients to do something really good. And that's what happened in 2020. 2020. Raised a whole boatload of money for charity, more money than they had ever raised on a 24-hour stream before. Knocked it out of the park. Totally great, right? And then we did that. We brought on like Dana Between the Bricks, April B, blah blah blah, all these people, right? And I'm like, nope, I'm not satisfied. I want more. So I went out and I'm like, all right, I want you, all these people. And we sent out between myself, I had Kirk Wilson help me of The Geek Effect, who's also a contributor. I'm like, ring the bell, get the casting call, as many people as I could cast that net to. I'm like, let's get as many people involved to raise as much money as possible in these 24 hours for an incredible cause. And that's for Creations for Charity. We had the AT-AT, obviously, UCS, $800. And between that set, all the people that we had involved, Beyond the Brick, the passionate audience, not just from YouTube, but Twitch and everywhere, all of that factored in. For the month-long campaign, we had raised, I think, $32,000 over the course of a month, which is out of this world.
That's
fantastic.
Amazing.
Kids all around the world got Lego sets for Christmas they would have never otherwise would have gotten. And it wasn't because of Beyond the Brick's number of 900,000 subscribers. Because a lot of those people, they watch a video here and there passively, whatever. It wasn't them. It wasn't. It was all of the people coming together and sharing the event and making the memories and the good times that were had on that stream, and providing that entertainment value for a worthy cause that really made that thing what it was. And if you just had me and Joshua, listen, I can carry. I ain't carrying for 24 hours. All right. By that point,
it's hard. So, it's hard.
It's hard. And all of those ingredients worked so well together that I knew it had to be those circumstances. And there were still some people that we couldn't involve because there was all these spots that were taken. So if there were more opportunities in the future, bring even more people involved, more planning, more prizes, more whatever. But I'm all about bringing incredible people together for incredible causes. And that's what, when you said that, bringing people together, like that gave me goosebumps down everywhere, because I'm like, okay, they say whatever that thing is that gives you goosebumps that you should do. Like, that's your thing, right? And I realize that's what it is. No matter if it's in Lego, gaming, family, friends, or otherwise, I'm the one that brings people together. So that's what I'll always do, no matter what.
Dude, you did such a great job, and I know you're going, every time you do it, it's gonna be amazing. I was watching most of that stream when I wasn't sleeping, just hanging out, chatting it up with all the other people, watching all of you, offer your facial hair up as an incentive to shave. It was great, and I think there's something really magical there in terms of bringing all those creators in the same place and space to do something good. And kudos to you and everyone that was involved, and I look forward to the next one and seeing what kind of craziness you get into next time. So,
well, we shall see what happens. I'll say that there was an incredible amount of effort from me to make that possible, and had a lot of the ideas to make a lot of the things happen. And, the Hanlons are out vacationing and wherever, right? I'm the one who's like, who's around? Who's new? Who can I involve? Whatever. So without that number doesn't happen. So how can we bring in as many people as possible for as mutually good of a cause as possible with the right audiences and whatnot? There's something to be done. And we talked about this a little bit before.
Yeah.
There's something to be done with a charity event of a magnitude that can represent not just the Lego Twitch community or brick building community, but just there's more that we can do. And seeing that potential, I'm like,
yeah. So, well, for what it's worth, whatever you need from me, I'm in. So
thank you.
I will
appreciate that.
Whatever you need. I'm just glad that there are people like you doing that work. So keep doing it. I really just,
I try.
I love it. And that's like I said, that's what made me go, that bricksobrian guy. He's making moves. He's doing things. He's helping people. And I can't thank you enough for that. So
yeah, I am always down for a charity thing when I have the time for it and it's the right cause and the right people.
Yeah.
I recently did a charity event for the Ronald McDonald House of New England. So that was a really great thing. I normally do a stream for Stand Up to Cancer and all sorts of organizations. So I love helping out when I can. So as much as I may chase after these multi-billion-dollar deals with Facebook, Roku, Cadoodle, and otherwise, just as much, if not more, I love raising money for great causes that are not about me.
I know this won't be the last time. I know it won't be. To circle back to the motivation and the balance, Ace asked something in chat that I wanted to briefly touch on. He asks, do you ever find you're struggling to find balance with that desire to grow your content? So we were talking about, what it meant to want to push to grow, but also, do things for yourself. Like, how do you find that balance, and how do you manage that desire of growing your content against also feeling self-fulfilled in other ways?
Well, admittedly, this is a gift and a curse for someone in my position. So I'm a 26-year-old guy with no girlfriend, no wife, no kids, no mortgage, no nothing, no debt, nothing. I can have the free will to just kind of do it all.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to, taking attention away from is not the right word, because those are great things to pay attention to, but I don't have those other things. So there's really no reason for me to not focus on this thing while I'm in this position. If the woman of my dreams walks into my life and then it's a whole thing, great. Then my attention will have to be taken and dedicated to her and whatever else when the time is for it. But for me, because all of my friends are leading their own lives with their jobs and their significant others and blah, 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 I find my time just being like, okay, I'm going to do the thing, and I'm going to do it all the time as much as I can, and not burn out in the process, but do it. And if you have kids and all those obligations, it obviously is more difficult than someone like me, but there's still things that can be done with the time that you have, whether it is streaming or whatever else that you can do. So that's tough for me to answer really and truly, given the position that I'm in
Right.
and the level of success that I have had so far. It's kind of apples to oranges for what other people can do.
Understandable.
And
I
trust me, like there might be people out there that are like, "Oh, I envy your time to be able to do whatever you want with content creation and all that." But then I also envy a lot of the guys and girls out there that have families and a house, and like, okay, you can
Yeah.
go home to kids, and like that to me is like, I value that tremendously, but I can't pop out 5 kids with a giant house as quickly as I can pop out a couple TikToks. So,
That's
I
fair.
take what I can get.
That's fair. Speaking as someone who, I'm, I work full time outside of streaming. I have a wife and kids. I have a mortgage. I have a fairly normal life in terms of all those other things that I have. And I guess, to speak to that question that Ace put in chat, it's really, whatever time you do have, it's a matter of prioritizing, right? So if you want to make content, or you love making content, but it's not your job, I mean, that's the first thing you have to look at and accept. But then the second thing you have to do is say, okay, well, what do I need to do to make that happen? If I still want to make content and still work my full-time job and still have time for my wife and kids. And yeah, I mean, you're starting at you're starting at a place where you won't have a lot of time, but it's really a matter of and it's funny that Ace is the person asking this, because I feel like Ace manages it really well somehow. I mean, coming off of his subathon and doing all the things that he's done in the community. But that said, it's really about figuring out that even if you have a couple hours a week, what can you do with those hours, right? And I mean, obviously, the more time that you don't have, the more you have to be careful about prioritizing it. And that's really what it boils down to. And it also really means you have to love it, right? You really have to love doing that, because not only are you doing your 40-hour work week, spending time with your family, doing everything that you need to do, then you have to find that time if you love it enough, if you enjoy doing it enough. So,
Right. And what I find myself gravitating toward is I've always had this goal in my head that is more than just doing the content for better or worse.
mm,
Like, I've had this idea for doing the book for so long that the idea of what that could be, and then the things that could spawn off of that,
mm,
really captivated me a lot. And that was always like, the equivalent of when they're making the first Iron Man movie, they know they're going to do Avengers. Like, it's
yeah,
that sort of thing. And I have found that if I have a goal that supersedes just the grind of doing the content and growing the
oh
thing,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
inherently drawn to do those things that are the grind more
yeah,
easily with the things that I have in front of me.
yeah. I'm so glad you said that, because I think there's a lot of people who are just focused on the grind, whatever that looks like for them, that they don't, they don't see the fact that they need a direction, right? Whatever that looks like. And often for people who are still getting started in content creation or in that space, I always recommend, because I mean, a lot of people see those sub goals and follow goals and things like that on streams. I always say, don't look at those goals, mainly because you
Mhm.
can't control those numbers and metrics. What you can control is knowing how many streams you can do in a week. If you do the math, or you look at your time commitments, set a goal. I'm going to stream once a week for 2 hours. If that's all you can do, but you want to do it, then that's what you do. And you commit to that for a month, 2 months, however long you think is reasonable. And then you look at your progress, and then you go again. You figure out, what does that look like after that? Because everything else comes with it, right? The
Mhm.
views, the follows, the things like that. But I very much agree with your your drive and your motivation, and I think that you know, you're in a good place, man. So keep it up. You got
My thing is I try my best, and for as much as I have going on, like, I mean, really any job, right? You could get laid
yes,
off or fired or blah blah blah, right? But
yes,
I want to feel content in my spot of doing content, whether it is through like all these avenues, right? I'm trying to build that baseline for myself so I can do all these other things too. So like that's where I find myself. And yeah, it is a little bit of a grind some days trying to find that emotional energy to make a good video, whether it
mm,
is a gameplay video or otherwise. Some
mm,
days it's tougher than others, and
yeah,
all I can do is, sleep it off a little bit, maybe get some comfort food and talk to a friend when those days aren't as bright and shiny.
yeah,
Another thing that a lot of people may forget about, especially with the content, is having as many receptors open as possible for people to discover what you're doing. So if you're having that one live stream a week, placing out all these metaphorical sticky traps to catch all this attention through a little
yeah,
bit on TikTok over here, an Instagram post, a blah, 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 blah. You're laying out all this opportunity for people to find what you're doing.
yes.
And all those little things can help, even if you can't dedicate the full 3 hours to a live stream once a week. There's little things that you can tweak along the way.
Well said. Definitely. It's all about thinking about it, coming up with ways to get eyes on the content, driving people to those streams. Definitely. So
And
we've oh, go ahead.
no, Brickfellow was saying you're finding the among your friends that are quite successful on platforms, they have something more than just videos. They offer a blog, a book, or a product or service. Yeah. So a
Yeah.
lot of people like those Instagram influencers that are like, I'll make you, you'll make $1 million a month if you buy my course. And it's like some snake oil, basically. Like, hey, you just
Yeah.
got to learn the entire real estate market in 2 weeks and then be smart enough to know when it's a scam and combat that. It's like, okay. So a lot of stipulations with that, right? But I mean, that kind of goes into what I was talking about before, Brickfellow, was that there's a something other than just making the videos to strive toward. So I've kept shilling my book everywhere because I'm proud of it and I want people to know about it. But that's kind of what that thing is. That could reach a lot more potential in my eyes than me as Bricks O'Brien right now. So what can I do to put that in the best position possible and me in the best position? And, you know, how many incredible artists can I hire to do some artwork to help the thing along the way, and all these little things too.
Yeah. That's definitely I think that's a lot of your experience showing right there, right? Like the all the things that you can do to push more eyes on the content, or the things that you can develop to get more attention, right? I think that those are definitely powerful tools that a lot of creators, or not tools but rather skills that they need to develop over time, and ultimately as you get better at it, I think most people will see those results, right? Where so you can, be smarter about your time spent uh, building content.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just a live stream a little bit here and there, like
Hmm.
we talked about before. There's so many little things that you forget about or you just don't consider from the get-go with making content, especially the marketing and networking, that aspect. So
Hmm.
there's a lot more that goes into it, which is what I always warn people when they're getting into it. If they want to do it well, do it right, and at maximum capacity. That there's a lot of stuff going on, and I don't do it perfectly. No, I don't
Yeah.
think anyone does, to be honest, unless they have a big team. But uh,
Right. Even if you have a team, I think it's still tough. It's still like
yeah,
trying to when you become a content creator of any kind, there's this, I think, illusion that might shatter for you if you're not familiar with that side of the work,
hmm
because and I've said this before, especially people like good content creators make it look easy. I mean, it's because you only see the content. You don't see all the work that goes into it. You don't
Right.
see the planning, the work to record the video or set up the stream. You don't see all the time spent in promoting, if there's particular events or just, regular videos or streams that you're putting out there, promoting it. Because, yeah, you wear a lot of hats as a creator. You're not just a streamer. You are a community manager. You are, public relations. Your promotions. You're everything, and it definitely looks really easy, but has a lot of work that goes into it.
Absolutely.
And speaking of all the hats that you wear as a creator, you said, being an author is one of the things that you're adding to that list, and we've touched on it briefly, but you have a Kickstarter
I
that
do.
is finishing up very soon. But why don't you talk about that for a little bit?
Sure. So, in my experiences of being who I am,
Yeah.
creating videos since I was 13 or 14 years old, I've discovered what it truly means to do this thing. And it's not like, as we've talked about this literally this entire time, it's not just sitting in front of the TV or the monitor playing the game. It's much more than that.
Yeah.
And I've learned that having a good mindset and a good way of going about it makes all the difference in your enjoyment of doing the thing, but also your overall enjoyment of life. So that's why I wrote Pro Gamer's Guide to Healthy Habits, which is meant to be this first installment of just general tips to give the next generation of video game players, of YouTubers, of streamers, what it really means to do what I do. And it's not only a message that kids can get behind because it looks like a video game. Oh, I want to be a pro gamer. What is that like? But then the parents can get behind it too, because even if, that dream doesn't happen, all of the life lessons that are taught in the book are incredibly valuable. And adults need a little reminder too. That's why there's a little hydrate button on a lot of these live streams, is because we forget to drink a little bit of water every once in a while. So,
True.
if adults need that reminder, kids certainly need to be taught those lessons from a very early age. And I believe that even if you're not a fan of Bricks O'Brien, that you can still get behind what the message of the book is, and it can resonate with people, and it has already. So that's my project, my book that I have on Kickstarter. There are 4 days remaining on it, and there's been an incredible over $26,000 that has been raised to help with the first run of prints, all the pins, the water bottles, the shirts that people have bought, and it's been overwhelming with the amount of support. And I'm, like I've mentioned before, I'm driven to take that thing as far as it can go, no matter what that means. So
I'm really excited for it, and I really like the message that you have, there, because I think now more than ever, when you ask kids what they want to do, that's the thing. People are like, "Oh, I want to be a pro gamer, or I want to be a streamer," or they want to have, they recognize this as a thing that they could possibly do one day. But I really love the fact that you say, "Okay, great, you want to do those things, but here's how you get to a place that will allow you to do that, or allow you to do whatever you want." Because I think that so many people forget, like you said, for adults it's hard, right? Like, we sometimes forget even how to be human when it comes to taking care of ourselves. And I really just love the message of like, hey, develop these healthy habits. You will be able to do this. You'll also, be more fulfilled, because I think that's really, really the thing that a lot of the messages that these kids see, they don't get enough of that. And I'm really glad that you're putting this out there, and I'm glad that, I mean, you got funded so quickly, you got your Kickstarter goal so quickly. I'm glad that you were able to get that, and that, with 3 days to go, I hope that you continue to, get more funding and more people in support of it, For those of you that are watching this live, there's a link in the chat. There's a panel below. There'll be links on the video that was posted. You can check out, or you could just search "Pro Gamer's Guide to Healthy Habits" on Kickstarter. And I think it's a noble cause. So I can't wait to see this out in the wild and having your book out there. Well done, man. Well done.
Thank you. And for complete clarification too, all that money, that's obviously no short chump change amount of money. All that goes back into the Kickstarter itself, with paying Kevin Hinkle, the illustrator, for his incredible work. All of the costs that are associated with printing and all this stuff that goes, all of that is covered with that Kickstarter. So even if you just want to get a copy of the book, you can totally do that. Somebody that you may know who would be interested in the book, you can get it for them as well. But it will be available on my website and on Amazon and all that as well when the time comes. But the support has been off the chain, and that to me just further reaffirms that I have these ideas in my head that I want to put out into the world. And clearly, whether sometimes I doubt it because that's just who I am. Like, am I doing this thing? Is it good? Like, do people like it? Like, I always doubt myself, but time and time again, I'm like, no, people believe in it and they trust me to do the best I can with all of this. And it's a I don't want to say a burden. It's something that weighs on me every day, but I know and trust myself enough to want to keep making good memories with my community, entertaining them, making them feel something, through a fireside chat of me talking about a serious topic or a funny moment in a stream. I want to be able to provide those moments for not just other people, but for myself too, in the best way that I can, and feel good while doing it. So that's what this book is as well, is an example of me doing that, but also a reminder to myself to do those healthy habits, because I do forget as well. So, and that's why I believe in it so much. So, yeah.
I think it's a great message. So if if you're a parent or you just want to support this message of, having a more balanced life and really what I really like about the message too is focusing on good experiences, right, that are fulfilling. This is a great book. So check it out again, Pro Gamer's Guide to Healthy Habits. There'll be links on the video. There's links here, or you can search for it. Keep it up, man. 3 days to go. I'm sure you'll be staring at it right up until then.
I absolutely. Yeah. It's embedded into my brain.
I believe it. I'm so glad that that's out there, dude.
Thank you.
There's a couple more questions in chat. So I'm gonna touch on these. Andrew Wombat asks, is there a single aspect of the gamut of streaming you like most? Performing, editing, chatting, etc.
I would say the two things I like the most, and they're probably equal in my mind. The first thing I love doing the most is meeting people who watch me in real life, for two reasons. Because I enjoy meeting people in general. I like talking to people, but I'm always interested to see people's reaction to what they think I am in real life and all that. Like, yes, I'm a real person. I'm not just a Muppet behind a camera. And, for oddly enough, I entertain kids and all that and families. There's only one time that a kid has ever been scared of me in real life. And it's somebody whose mom is like in the mom squad on Facebook, and he's like a super fan of mine. But like, if you look at me in public, I'm a pretty like stoic, like I'm a big guy. I don't look like I feel like I don't look like an approachable kind of guy. But then to have like a kid run up with his family and be like, Brian, I love you. And I'm like, okay, this is awesome. And that reaction, like it's happened a bunch of times with me, but like other people seeing it, they're like, dude, do you know how special that is? And I'm like, well, I guess I do, because I experience it and I cherish that so much. So I love meeting people in real life. And then it's also the idea that I can do better at podcasting, conveying my thoughts, articulating the thing to do better little tweaks within my capabilities. I love being able to communicate my ideas with people, and how can I do that to the best of my ability? And how can I be more well spoken without any like formal training? I'm not going to classes and stuff, but like, how can I still be me, but just make it entertaining? I guess cool.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. No, I think that's a thing that a lot of creators really, whether they realize it or not, uh, will need to work on, right? You know, is that that entertainment value, but also that ability to articulate their thoughts in ways that really are relatable and quickly understood. And that's
Mm-hmm.
something that, I mean, like you, I've felt ever since I've started doing this, have really focused on and tried to get better at. And it's not easy. It's really not easy. And
Yep.
yeah, I think that I think a lot of creators feel that way. And so good answer. Let's see. J-Ron Man asks, do you do one channel for everything or separate your content into multiple channels based on categories?
Yeah. So I take a lot of pride in just like any human, you get the whole package. You get the serious stuff with the funny stuff, with the boring
Hmm.
stuff, with the entertaining stuff. So I haven't divvied up my channel into like, shorts, live streams, VOD content, serious Brian stuff, because then I feel the desire to upkeep all those all the time. So right now, I'm focusing on just refining on the things that I can on the channels I already have. And then there's Pro Gamers Guide stuff, which has its whole separate social channels and things going into that as well.
Right.
So I'm formulating this so if you're not a fan of Brian Saviano, you can still get the updates on the book and the comic and the whatever through that, because most people don't follow, you know, uh, most people don't follow, let's say, J.K. Rowling. They follow the Harry Potter Facebook page, right?
Right.
And for whatever other, yeah. So that's kind of the idea that I have behind it too.
Excellent. I think there's, I mean, you see some creators split up their content across different channels. Others put it all in one place. I think that, especially for people who are getting started, put everything in one spot, right? It
Yep.
makes it really easy, and then it actually helps you kind of figure out the stuff you do want to focus on. If there is some kind of choice that needs to be made, you could then kind of push your content in that way. And I think for most people, that's, I mean, as a principle, I like to have everything on one channel anyway. Although I've thought
Right.
about looking at doing multiple channels, and the upkeep alone makes it very difficult. And so, uh, as you said, I think one channel for most people is generally the solution to go to anyway.
Definitely. I'm glad to see Brickfellas comment in the chat about seeing Kevin get his name out there with his
Yeah,
incredible illustrations. That is one of the top things on my mind, is making sure that he is taken care of, not just financially for his work on the book, but then also if my audience is so passionate and willing to spread the word about it, and if I can help be a platform for him to get his work out there more and get, more like a serious more serious job offer or different gigs or being at a different convention or something like
yeah,
that I want to reaffirm that as much as I want to succeed and do all the things in life, if I can bring incredible people alongside me to go and do the thing, absolutely. I want to be in a position, admittedly, this is like the thing I see in my head on top of all the other things, is I want to be in a position where I can either give one of my friends or colleagues a job or be like, "Hey, I know this guy at this company. Go make it happen. You good, go ahead. Make the thing, just do the thing." Like I want to be able to do that because I want to see my people get taken care of no matter what. I want that security for not just me but for everybody. So that's a long way to get there, but that's what I want.
I think that's great to highlight that, and that's I think it's fantastic. And for those that don't know, that's the artist that worked on your book, right? The illustrator.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to kind of echo what was in the question, I think from what I've seen, on the Kickstarter page, he does incredible work. I'm looking forward to the book, and also it's great that his name will get out there as well. So
100%.
let's see. Quick question from J-Ron. The multi-streaming subject. He's seen some multi-streams use about their repost messages. Would we try that out again if that was the option that we had available to us, to have essentially one chat?
I would still say no, at least for me, because I have a good chunk of subscribers on my channel, and it's still, not only is it two sources that I'm paying attention to, but then other people are cross communicating on platforms, and then there's a delay and a disconnect and whatever. So for me, it's more efficient for me to just say, all right, everybody go to this place, everybody go to this spot, let's do it this way. And if you can't, then you can catch the video on demand on my page, because it can either be seen as spreading yourself across other platforms and getting those receptors out for attention to be on your videos, but also that could inadvertently dilute the community experience you're fostering on Twitch or on YouTube. So that's to keep in mind as well.
100% agree on that. I have no additional things to add there. I feel exactly the same way.
There we go.
So, what is next for Bricksobrian? What's in the future for you now that we've got this Kickstarter almost over?
I want to take a vacation. I want to go to Super Nintendo World. But other than that, the Kickstarter, the book itself, like I've alluded to, opens up a lot of possibilities for the characters, Brian, and the pet pals that go with them, and then other people being in the comic is in the book as well. I want to see that go, as far as it can take it. Like, wouldn't it be cool to have a video game related animated show based off of these pets and characters? And like, I've always had this affinity for, maybe not in the same way that not in the same creepy way that Disney does it, but like building a world and intellectual property and all these sort of things, like building a world that people can relate to, that isn't like super scammy or shilly. It's just something that resonates with people. Like, I don't want to have the hardcore Disney fanatics like for my stuff, of course not. And but that idea of building a thing like that is bigger than I as an individual ever could be, and that can also have an entire team of people work on, not just for my benefit, but for the benefit of making something incredibly cool that kids, families can enjoy around the world. That's what keeps me driven, whether that is the book, a comic, a whatever. So I want to see that go as far as I can.
Do you have some stuff in the works for that? That you're willing to talk about? Well,
Andrew's like, come on, kids, we're going to Pro Gamers Guide World. Well, it wouldn't be called that. But it'd be, something a bit more catchy. The marketing people can come up with that.
Yeah.
Really, so this process with the book has been going on for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been in development heck for 2 years. And as someone who knows video games and more, what that heck looks like, and it's bad. So the fact that we're on the tail end of the process, I'm just like, okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Once I have the book physically in my hand, I can then say, okay, give this to a person, and like, this is what is physically done. Because admittedly, and I've run into a lot of trouble with this, a lot of people outside of my sphere are like, who is this guy and why should I give him my money? This book may never happen.
Right.
But I know for a fact I'm going to make the book happen. I'm not doing a rug pull on Kickstarter because my entire career would be canned, and I don't want to do that. So clearly this book is going to get made. So once it is actually made, I can send it to whoever and say, look at this thing I did. Look at what this could be. Do you see the same stars in the sky I do? And network and go on from there. So right now, I'm just kind of waiting to get the book done and take those steps, admittedly. And then once I have it in hand, I'll have a better idea of what comes next. But until then, yeah, I'm a chill. I'm a just.
Yeah,
There's a weekly comic coming out at this rate. I have some test sketches for that, and they look incredible.
that's
Those are
cool.
going to go across all the platforms as well. So lots of good stuff on the way.
I can't wait to see all the stuff that comes out of this, and as well as the book. So I guess stay tuned on that front.
Yeah, I mean, if any, so I work with a Lego artist fairly frequently named Pino Creations, and I'm sure you'll recognize this character here, Amor, from a little Super Smash Brothers fame, little Donkey Kong Country fame, right?
Yep.
So one of the characters from the book was actually designed by an audience member of mine. She didn't know it, but I said, draw a penguin companion for bricksobrian. And so Lindsay drew Cuddles, a lavender penguin that is now in Lego form, just like that.
That's cool.
So
I love it.
You know, and he made that. So I want to release these models at some point, in some way, some form, that are all from the book and the comic and all that. So we'll see what the future holds. This mind is always going, Amor. I don't stop.
I know.
Gravy train keeps going.
I know. Like, I always see you thinking, man. You're on it. So I can't wait to see what else comes out. Those are all some very awesome ideas. I can't wait to I mean, I'm getting the book,
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I believe in the message, and I know my kids will benefit from it. So and I can't wait to see what you do with that world going forward. I have one final question, which is probably the easiest one, maybe. Now that you've sat with me for about an hour and a half, who would you like to see kind of follow and maybe experience a conversation about content with me?
That is a great question. So to keep it in the Lego realm, the first person that came to mind who has a wealth of experience, and not just in the Lego realm, but in general, life experience that factors into his story with Lego, it has to be Dan of Between the Bricks. That guy is like he is the guy you sit down and talk with at a you sit down and talk with at a bar about life, about Lego, about experience, and his perspective I very much so value as a fellow creator, but also as a friend. So he would be the one. Excellent. But he's mysteriously disappeared. He's off filing his taxes for the past 17 weeks. So I don't know when he'll be back. But he'll be back eventually, like Frosty. He'll be back someday.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm sure we'll see him again very soon. He'll resurface.
There's no I cannot confirm or deny. The nose job, right. He's getting another nose job. It's his third nose job in the past 4 weeks, Bobo Levo. Thank you for that's it.
Crack that case. That's what it was.
Yes, he's also going to open up a mattress firm to launder money from New Zealand to the US afterward, but that's beside the point.
Man. So, where can people find bricksobrian?
You can find me across almost all the platforms on the internet: YouTube, Twitch, Roku, Kidoodle TV, the app available on Android, iOS, Fire Stick, etc. I'm also on Twitter, Instagram. I have a Patreon. Like I said, the Kickstarter. I have an Etsy shop, my website, and a partridge in a pear tree, if you can find me. Just Google my name. A lot of stuff will come up. Fun fact, if you actually Google my name, first inserted search result is Brian Saviano book. Second one is Brian Saviano net worth. And then one of the last ones is Brian Saviano single. So that's all people care to know about me, is the book, my net worth, and if I'm single. So I don't know what that says. But
look, I'm sorry.
There's some moms out there that are looking me up that are like,
yeah, I was gonna say, some moms want to know how much is he making, and is he single?
I mean, I mean, yeah, the cadoodle check's gonna be hopefully pretty good.
You're like, hello, mothers. How you doing?
Hello, hello, mommy. Nope, don't cook.
Whoa.
Don't cook.
It's
You
been
didn't cook. Yeah,
it's been a pleasure talking to you, man. I know we could do this easily for another hour if we really wanted to. But thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your headspace with me
yeah.
and coming on and talking about it live and then, having this video out in the world. I really appreciate your energy and what you bring to the gaming and Lego space. I think everything you're doing is fantastic. And so continue the good work, continue the message that you're sending, and I will continue to be there to push that message forward as well.
I will continue to do that until I drop dead or some very wealthy mom sweeps me off the feet and I'm stuck in Tahiti.
I think that's a good problem to have. I mean, if it's not the wild success that I wish for you, it's that. So one of the one,
Right.
one of those
That.
things.
Oh man.
Where's Brian? Oh, he's somewhere in Tahiti. It's fine.
He's in Tahiti.
Don't worry about it.
Fine. He's
Don't worry
with
about
a pina colada or something. He's
He's-
all right.
He's good. Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time for the next episode. We'll have Zach M. Rutledge as our next guest. He'll be here live on the channel on February 28th at 9 p.m. Pacific, and we'll do this all over again. Until next time, take care.